Sixers fans, how we feeling out there? Hey y'all, my name is Lauren Gordon. Some of you may already know me on social media as Lauren Fan of the Year. Others may have just stumbled upon this podcast, but either way, I want to first thank all of you for tuning in to Season 3, Episode 2 of my very first podcast. I'm just a Sixers fan, the Lauren Fan of the Year story. Now let's continue the story. Happy New Year. Y'all, the time is now January 2022. On January 7th, we played San Antonio. DeJounte Murray had 27 points, but it still wasn't enough for the Spurs to beat our talented Philadelphia 76ers. That win was huge for us because it was our 6th straight win. It was early January, so technically we were still undefeated for the year. It was a great team effort. Joel Embiid had another MVP caliber night with 31 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. Y'all, in 31 minutes. Damn. Tobias and Seth Curry each contributed 23 points, and I also noted that I really liked Charlie Brown Jr. Remember him? On January 10th, we beat the Houston Rockets. Joel Embiid had 31 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in 26 minutes. Y'all, it got to a point where, as Sixers fans, we were just expecting big games from Joel. That night, Tobias, Furkan, Isaiah Joe, and Matisse Thybulle all had double-digit scoring to seal our 7th straight win. We were still undefeated for the year. I posted on social media, clap your hands, everybody. Embiid is so damn fun to watch on both ends of the court. He has such a broad skill set, and I don't think he's even peaked yet. Hashtag MVP. On January 12th, I received a Society 76 email that was sent to all season ticket holders with sign-up details to participate in a skills challenge. It was simple. Sign up on the registration page, and if selected, you'd compete head-to-head against your opponent in a skills challenge that tested your speed, dribbling, passing, free throw, shooting, and layup. At go, you dribble as fast as you can and then out of the cones that would be set up in a zigzag formation. Then you dribble to the second skills checkpoint for passing, where you pass the basketball through a board with an opening just large enough for a basketball. Once completed, you'd run to the free throw line. And once you made the free throw, you grab the ball and run all the way back down the other end of the court for a layup at the opposite basket. The entire challenge was timed and recorded. The fastest times would be declared the winners. If you know me, you know that I am very competitive and I'm always up for the challenge. I signed up, and wouldn't you know it, I was selected to participate with it was 1,500 other season ticket holders. Y'all, at first, I was so excited to be selected, and I couldn't wait to participate in the challenge. But then, y'all, self-doubt and insecurities began to creep in. I don't really exercise. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually ran full out. I didn't want to embarrass myself. I read the rules, and it stated that I could either participate myself or have a delegate. I thought, that's it. For my best chance to win, I'll reach out to my Facebook family, friends, and followers, and I'll have someone participate on my behalf. So I went on Facebook and I made a post. If you can dribble, pass, and shoot with accuracy and you're available on Friday, message me. I need somebody with mad basketball skills. Well, y'all, I got comments like, my cousin Karen, who I called Dusty, who I've mentioned earlier in this podcast, commented, cracking the F up with the laughing emoji and her hand raised emoji. Amy Perez Walker commented, do I even want to know what you are up to? Y'all, that's because people who know me know that I'm always up to something, especially when it's related to the Sixers. Bernard Hall replied, well, the with accuracy part put me out with the laughing emoji. And I replied, me too, with the laughing emoji. Ryan Richardson commented with the man with his hand raised emoji. He also added, but only for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'm gassed, with the eye wink emoji. My daughter Corey commented, me, even though I knew she wasn't serious. Eric commented, me 10 years ago, LMAO. Then Kyle Creighton commented, dang, I just retired from basketball, press conference and everything, with the laughing emoji. Carolyn Muldoon-Sfarakis commented, I mean, how accurate are we talking, LOL? Obviously, I know my way around the basketball court, but I'm a center, so dribbling and jump shooting is not my area of expertise by any means, with the laughing emoji. Beth Wamburn Shaw commented, can Colin assist? He's 5'10" now, with a mean jumper, with the thumbs up emoji. Colin was Beth's teenage son. I messaged everyone separately, and I gave them all the details. Unfortunately, because the event occurred during the workday and during school hours, no one wanted to take off. I didn't mind using a PTO day. I was going to take the day off regardless. I just wasn't feeling confident to compete in this skills challenge. Obviously, no one was taking me serious. But then I thought, it's only Wednesday. I still have 2 more days to find someone. Later that evening, we played the Charlotte Hornets. Word was out that Tyrese Maxey and B-Ball Paul both cleared safety protocol and were shooting around pregame. They were probably out with COVID-19, which was still running rampant. That night, y'all, Joel Embiid scored 31 points. It was his 8th straight game with 30-plus points. He was now tied, get this, with Wilt Chamberlain and Allen Iverson for most consecutive games with 30-plus points. That night, Tobias Harris had 17 points, Furkan Korkmaz had 14 points, and Maxey and Seth each had 10 points. And y'all, even Danny Green had 7 points, but it was still not enough for us to beat the Charlotte Hornets, who were led by Gordon Hayward, who ended up with 30 points. Y'all, that was the end of our win streak and our first loss of the new year. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted. We were bound to lose sooner or later, and that's part of the game. And at the end of the day, we still had the best player in the league on our squad, Joel Hans Embiid. On January 13th, the night before the skills challenge, I was still in pursuit to find my delegate to participate in my place. I made another Facebook post. If I can't find a skilled baller for tomorrow, I'm just going to have to compete myself. Y'all, I was begging my kids, and they just laughed at me and said, Mom, we're not doing that. It got to the point where I was asking them, well, what about your friends? And I had a bunch of likes and comments, but no one agreed to participate on my behalf. There were a few friends who were interested, but as I stated, they weren't willing to take off from work or take off from school. The event was happening early during the workday because there was actually a home game later that evening. Kendall said, "Mom, I don't want to participate, but I'll go with you and support you." I was like, oh man, now I gotta follow through and do this for myself. On the morning of Friday, January 14th, I checked my social media one last time to see if I had anyone at the last minute willing to participate. Nothing. Damn. At this point, it is what it is. I got to get ready mentally and visualize myself successfully completing the skills challenge. I picked out my navy blue City Edition Spectrum Tyrese Maxey jersey. He was my favorite current 76er, and I felt confident and good wearing it. Kendall and I drove to the Wells Fargo Center, and we sat in the car for like 10 minutes before going inside. I just sat there, watching people enter the building, and I began sizing up my competition. In my head, I thought, I could beat her. I should be faster than him. Ooh, I hope I don't have to go up against them. She looks like she'll make the top 5. Ooh, he looks fast. These were obviously assumptions based on appearances. I didn't know these people, and I was trying not to underestimate anyone because I'm sure people was looking at me like, I'm sure I could beat her too. I noticed it was mostly men, but it was a very diverse group. Males, females, and all ages, from young teenagers to my age group and older. You could also tell there were people at different skill levels. There were people who were athletic and in really good shape. And then there were people who looked like me. I just laughed at myself and said, F it. I'm just going to go out here and have fun. Come on, Kendall. And we walked into the Wells Fargo Center. I confirmed my information at the registration table, and I was given a Skills Challenge player profile card with my participant number. I was number 259. The card had my name, my skill level, which I had as beginner, and there was also a space at the bottom of the card for my final time, which would be written in by the official scorekeeper at the end of the race. All the participants were escorted into the arena and were seated in the stands. Kendall and I decided to sit more like the back half of the pack. The overhead jumbotron displayed, "Welcome to the Society 76 2022 Skills Challenge event." I ran into one of my favorite arena ushers who was working the event, Mr. Eddie. I hadn't seen Mr. Eddie since the pandemic shut down. It was so nice to see him again. We hugged and asked each other how we were doing. We were still wearing masks, but I could still see Mr. Eddie's smile through his mask. The event organizers had a row stand up, and a group of like 20 participants were escorted to the actual court. 10 people were lined up on the left, 10 people were lined up on the right. The next 20 people were on deck on the sidelines. The arena sound system played a countdown that went something like this: 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you would go, and then the hype music dropped. The two people going head to head would dribble through the cones, pass the ball through the opening, go to the free throw line, make the free throw, then run down to the other end of the court and make the layup. And the time was running on the game clock above the jumbotron. As participants in the stands, we were also spectators. We cheered for everyone. We were all in this together. Some people got through the challenge quickly. Some people struggled. Those who struggled either struggled with the dribbling, some struggled with the passing, Some struggled with the free throw, some struggled with the layups, or a combination of all of the above. As I watched the participants ahead of me, I was trying to come up with a strategy. What to do, what not to do, what to be mindful of. I knew as a heavy-set older woman, I was still pretty fast. I could dribble, I could pass, I could shoot free throws. My mind went back to my early high school days playing basketball up at the cut with my friend Chuck. I could always shoot, but I knew I was going to have issues with my layup. And I remember once I got married to Larry and we were playing basketball, he would try to help me with the layup. And he would say, just aim for the center of that square above the rim. But y'all, it didn't matter. I always struggled with the layup. But I had to shake off all the doubts that was running through my head. I knew it was more than me beating the person I was going up against. It was all about completing it and the fastest time. So I thought, Lauren, this is just a race against myself. But I didn't want to go head to head and not win, y'all. That's how competitive I am. It was a lot of fun cheering on the people ahead of me. I was impressed with a lot of the skills. There were men, women, and children who were killing it. And they weren't athletes, just regular, everyday people. I began visualizing myself successfully completing the challenge. I had to do this for myself. It got to the point where the row ahead of me was called to stand and line up on deck. I was like, oh man, here we go. It's getting so close. Y'all, I pulled out my cell phone and made a quick Facebook post. I'm coming up on deck next. Y'all pray for me. I'm dead serious. Then I immediately had to go to the bathroom. This happens to me every single time I get nervous. I was like, oh, let me go pee before they call my row next to go on deck. The bathroom was right at the tunnel near the baseline. I used the stall, and while washing my hands, my rep, Alex, came out another stall and walked over to wash her hands at the sink next to me. We squealed in delight, as we always do whenever we saw each other. She asked me if I participated yet. I said no, but my row is coming up next to go on deck. We grabbed hands as if to channel our friendship into positive energy, and Alex says, hey, what if we went head to head with each other? I screamed, Alex, yes, let's do it. We walked out of the ladies' room together through the tunnel where I saw my row on deck on the sideline. I got in line, and then our row was split into 2 rows of 10. Alex asked the guy who was on the opposite side of me if she could go ahead of him. He agreed, and standing across from each other, Alex and I waved in excitement. We were up next. We stepped up to our start line. We were handed a basketball. We waited for the 4, 3, 2, 1, go. The crowd began going crazy, and we took off, dribbling in and out of the cones that were set up in a zigzag. Y'all, did I forget to mention that while we were doing this, we were all still wearing masks? Do you know how hard it is to be out of shape, running full out while wearing a mask? While dribbling in and out of the cones, I was saying to myself, go, Lauren, you got this. I got to the end of the dribbling course and dribbled the basketball off my right foot. The basketball went far right. One of the event staff recovered the basketball and passed it back to me and told me to keep going. I dribbled over to the passing challenge. I did a little step pass. Boom, made it on the first attempt. The event staff rebounded the ball and passed it to me, and I dribbled over to the free throw line. Alex was already there. She was ahead of me. Alex is my girl, and I knew that this was all in fun, but I was like, nah, I can't let Alex beat me. I want to win. I missed my first 3 free throws. It was cool because Alex was missing her free throws too. It got to the point where we were standing side by side on the free throw line, chucking up shots, and we were both giggling, cracking up at each other. Then my fourth attempt went in. The staff grabbed the rebound, passed me the ball, and I took off back down the other end of the court. I missed my layup. Damn, I knew this was going to happen, but I quickly grabbed the rebound and tossed it back up. In my peripheral, I could see Alex coming down the court right behind me. She was on my heels. Thank God my shot went in, and I was the winner of our heat. Exhausted, I gathered my breath underneath the basket, and I was gasping for air. I managed to yell, "Come on, Al, you got it. You got this." Alex is my friend, and I wanted to fully support her. She made her layup, and we both hugged as we laughed hysterically at what we just accomplished. Everyone in the stands were on their feet, and they were giving us full applause. I looked over in the stands and saw Kendall recording the whole thing from her cell phone. Not only was Kendall excited for me, she was happy, excited, and fully supporting Alex. She loved our friendship and was glad to see us go head to head. I walked over to the official timekeeper, who handed me my profile card. Y'all, I was shocked. I completed the challenge in under a minute. The fastest time was 20.56 seconds. I completed the challenge in 38.82 seconds. Y'all, that's not too shabby for a chubby old lady, right? I was so proud of myself. What an accomplishment. I told my Facebook family and friends I did it, and it was so damn fun. I'd do it again. Ryan commented with a gif of Kobe shooting a jumper. Carolyn commented, "How did it go?" And I replied, "Carolyn, I'm alive to tell the story." And I added a bunch of laughing emojis. Kendall and I went home for a few hours only to return back to the Wells Fargo Center. There was a game later that night against the Boston Celtics. We arrived early so that we could attend the pregame warm-ups, and y'all, I got a fist bump from Shake Milton. Now, you want to know what else was exciting about that night? Well, y'all, the top two people with the fastest times from the skills challenge from earlier that day got to compete again head-to-head for the finals skills challenge, and that's where the winner was crowned. How exciting is that, to compete in front of a sold-out crowd during an NBA game? Remember, we were playing the Boston Celtics. And to be honest, y'all, I don't even remember what the prize was, but I'm sure it was some kind of luxurious Sixers VIP package. And even though obviously I didn't win at that level, y'all, it was so much fun just to say that I was a part of that event earlier that day. Y'all know anytime we play the Boston Celtics, it is a big game. Well, y'all, that night, we beat the Celtics 111-99. Joel Embiid had 25 points, 13 rebounds, in 32 minutes. My guy, Tyrese Maxey, had 23 points. Tobias Harris and Seth Curry each had 17 points. What a game. It's always fun to win, but y'all, it's even more fun to beat the Boston Celtics. What an unbelievable day. Y'all, I was grateful for it all. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And be sure to tune in next time as we continue the story.